Hi guys, it's Sam here from Bargain Hunting Blonde, and today I am bringing to you a Hermes repair informational video about the 3 repairs I have had done recently. So this is kind of an ongoing series as I love vintage Hermes, and I do have a good relationship at Hermes, so I have no issues bringing in a variety of items to have them repaired. If you guys have seen my previous videos, I brought in my vintage Constance, which was from 1973, and she needed a completely new box leather strap. So she was sent to Paris, and that was great. I have also had cashmere repaired. I actually just took in another sweater that needed a wool repair because I am constantly battling the stupid moths in my house. I don't know if you guys have this problem. We have cedar closets. I have lavender pouches hanging up, cedar pouches hanging up, the stupid bad smelling mothballs everywhere. I keep them all in special like sealed wool like sweater containers. It does not seem to matter. It just seems to be like if I wear it and take it off for 5 seconds, a moth eats it. I've never even seen a moth in my house, but there's evidence. So that's the latest repair that is currently with Hermes, is one of my wool sweaters. I was actually like cleaning it, like cleaning the wool, and using wool detergent, I guess you would call it. And that's when I noticed it. I was very upset. Okay, but tangent. So these are my latest repairs. We're going to start with the smallest and go to the biggest. So the first came back to me in this cute little velvet bag. On the front there, you can see there's like a little Hermes crest. It's really hard to see, but it's there. And this was, or you'll see, is my repair to my beautiful Cape Cod watch that I got to do the watch customization thing. So I got to pick the strap and then the face, and then I do have on the back, it's got my initials and the date on it because I chose to do that. The pearlescent face with the little diamonds is very beautiful. I don't know if it'll focus, but the watch battery died, which it's a watch, it's bound to happen. So I decided I was going to take it into Hermes just because that makes me feel safer about it, though it was $75, and actually this repair went in at the same time as a bag repair that you'll see, and this took twice as long as the bag repair because this had to go to LA, and if you take in bag repairs, depending on the repair, the repairman in San Francisco can actually do it. So she's back. I can actually use her as a timepiece instead of as a fashion accessory, which was what she was for a bit there. So very excited to be using my watch again, and this was $75 repair. I was kind of surprised that, like, considering it was the first battery changed, it was $75, but I haven't had a battery change in a watch in such a long time. I'm not sure how much it is anymore. And I guess I did get this cute little pouch and that little pillow it was on, even though, like, you get a really nice little box and pillow when you buy a watch from Hermes. So that was $75. Next was a repair I took in July on a super vintage piece. So that's why she's back in her vintage dust bag, though she did come back in a new dust bag. So they always will send the bag. They won't take your dust bag. They don't want to take your clochette or your lock or anything like that. They have you keep that. And the old dust bag you keep. So I put her back in the old dust bag and then put a pre-loved bag that I had bought that didn't have a dust bag in the new dust bag. And it is my beautiful navy blue box Kelly. I thought she was a 28, and she is actually a 25 according to the craftsman who worked on her. So that was a fun fact. I had never taken or bothered to measure the centimeters of the bottom of the bag, but she is an OG. She is the Kelly 1, so she does not have the extra clasp for the strap. She actually did come with the strap, though, which is interesting. So I also have her strap as well because there was no repairs done to that. And what I had done to this, because I do not want to misquote you all. So if you have ever done the Hermes bag repair process, they take pictures of the bag, they take it in, and then they send you a request follow-up, which is what they call it, which is when they say, like, hey, will you approve the cost? This is what we think we'd like it done. You could have another craftsman look at it and get a second opinion, or you can agree to some of it, or you can agree to all of it. For this bag, they did a cleanup, makeup finish bag on a classic leather, and that was $365 USD for that to be done. And they say in the quotation, our cleaning service is designed to enhance the overall condition of your bag and address any scuffed area. However, it is important to note that while a craftsman will make every effort to minimize traces and stains, we cannot guarantee a complete restoration of the leather to its original state. Please be aware that deep stains may still be visible after the repair process. Additionally, to protect the lining of the bag, our craftsman will not be able to clean the inside of the bag. And I then went and accessed my online quote, accepted it, totally okay with it. I forgot on this one to take pictures of the bag before I sent it in, but the corners, which now look amazing, were rough, like looked white rough, which if you guys have ever seen older bags that are box leather, that 100% happens. Also, look how shiny that is. There were also a lot of surface scratches on this bag. You literally can see not a one of them. Lots of scratches on the back. Let me see. I can kind of highlight one that was the deepest. You can kind of see it right there. You really have to like look though and get the light correctly. They did a great job. I was very happy with the work they did to the bag. This bag is very old. And like I said, I have no idea what number owner I am, but I'm definitely not her first. She will need, and they did point out to me, potentially a bigger repair later on, which is, you can kind of see a little bit. The sangles are starting to, the back of them have a little bit of an issue, but that can be replaced. But that is a replacement where they do need to replace the leather because it is this full piece is one piece. And if that is the case, then the bag will go to Paris. This repair took about a month and a half, which I was pleasantly surprised. And then I just went in and picked her up and looked her over and was very happy and learned I actually have a 25 Kelly instead of a 28 Kelly. So that was fun. So that was that repair. I then just recently picked up my latest repair, and I actually wanted to show you both the repairs in the same video because they allegedly had similar work done, but they are different leathers. So this repair I took in September, and it was done within 2 weeks, which is crazy. And this is the new dust bag it did come in because I have not put it back in its vintage dust bag yet. And it is my Birkin 35 in Courchevel, which is basically Epsom, but is the older version of Epsom. And it is in, my sales associate and I are not exactly sure. It looks very similar to Rouge Ache, but it is a little redder. And that might just be because the Courchevel leather and this bag is older. So, you know, she is more OG. But she also, I'll put up the picture of her when I sent her in, had some rough corner wear and some rough scratches, which I was fine with because I was like, listen, I am just going to use her until I think she needs repairs and then I will bring her in. So on this one, they did 2 different types of work. The first was the same, which is the cleanup, makeup, finish to the bag, which this is also considered a classic leather. They also then restitched the top 2 gussets, which needed to be redone. You honestly can't even tell because Hermes craftsmanship is so great. But they did a great job. And this is something to remember with Epsom and with the leathers that are like a stamped leather, is that the repairs are not going to be perfect because this leather is very difficult to repair once it gets scratched. So Epsom is very durable, but eventually it will scratch, and that is what happened here. So if you see, I'm trying to find, oh, you can kind of see it on this one. So if you see, I'm trying to find the worst scratched corner to show you guys because I want to like emphasize how you can still see a little bit. So I think this is the worst scratched corner. You can kind of see some of the repairs. It's a little lighter. Yeah, you can see it on the piping. Because these bags, once they scratch, it is very hard to blend the scratch back into the bag. And, you know, corners are going to wear. That's just going to happen. And so that's what happened to this little baby. But honestly, I was so happy with the repair. And so to have the makeup done for this one, as they call it, was $365. So it was a little more by $20. I think that's probably because of the size of the bag. The Kelly is a 25 and this is a Birkin 30. And then the stitching to the top 2 gussets was $175. So total repair for this was $540. So what they said the exact same thing about the cleaning service. And then they also included gussets. They are partially unstitched and need to be repaired to grant the bag a longer durability. So I want to put up, let's see. I want to show you guys exactly what was done, and like what a gusset is. So what the gusset is on these bags, let me take it. I was going to try to like show a picture and find a picture, but Google wasn't showing me what I wanted, so I'll just show you on the bag, though you're going to see them obviously in their repaired state, so a little different, but it's okay. And what the gussets are, the bag looks so nice. Oh, ew. And then I got a little like thank you for trusting our repair people card there in the inside of the bag, which is nice. And the other nice thing is that if you have a more vintage bag, Hermes will only repair authentic bags. So they, you have the receipt now from the repairs, which is something that you can like use to say like this bag is authentic, besides like authenticating it with real authentication. The gussets are this part of the bag. And my gussets definitely needed restitching. You cannot tell that these are different from the rest of the bag. So let me zoom up so you can see. So you can see that. So this was fully restitched, but the stitching looks identical. It'll focus to the stitching on here. Like they do an amazing job, which is why I always take my bags into Hermes. And then this gusset was a bit rougher, and so you can see they did a little bit of like makeup repair, which you can see. Do you see that there a little bit, guys? Because again, this leather being the precursor to Epsom just does not, is not as easy to repair to a point that you don't see it. It's much easier for them to be able to like buff out and repair and clean box leather, for example, or like a Togo leather, because of the pebbling of that leather, much easier to integrate the repair into the leather than it is for an Epsom in Courchevel. That does not mean they cannot do repairs. It's just they're not as seamless, I think is the word I'm looking for. So if you're up very close and I was to point out like, hey, the bag has had repairs done here, here, and here, looking at them, look at the, like holding the bag, you'd be like, oh yeah, I do see that there was some touch-up work there. Versus with like the corners of the box leather, like you could never tell. I could tell you a billion times, like this is where the repair was done, and you would not be able to see it. But I was pleasantly surprised on the repair costs for both the bags, considering they did have very worn corners. They did need recoloring. And this one, my Birkin 35, needed some of the, both of the gussets restitched. So I was very impressed. All that work was work they could do at the San Francisco store. Like I said, when I had to have the strap completely redone for the Constance, that did have to go to Paris. So depending on the work you need redone, the bag may or may not have to go out. If it does need to go to Paris, that is going to take longer. But this was literally redone within 2 weeks. So I actually was like, hey, to my sales associate, can you please hold the bag? Because like, I'm not going to make it in. And then he went on vacation. So it was like, okay, they had the bag for like twice as long or 3 times as long as it actually took to repair the bag. But I'm very happy to use her again. I'm glad she's back like just in time for the winter season. Oh, and something else I did want to point out is they do not really do makeup. They do clean it, but they don't really do makeup on the handles of the bag. So you can still see a little bit of the wear because doing repairs and like recoloring on the handles, especially if not absolutely necessary, can make the handles a little sticky, and they don't want to do that because they are using paint. They do have to repaint the bag. So I'm very happy she is back. And I was really surprised and pleasantly happy about the pricing. I don't know if any of you guys have watched Meredith's recent video about the repair she tried to do at Louis Vuitton, but they were so expensive, and I'll link the video down below because it's wild. Like, I have been thinking about taking in some of my more vintage bags, like this multicolor bag, because she does have some unfortunate like water wear to her before I purchased her. And so I was like, oh, maybe, you know, I'll have that repair. This bag's really popular right now. And then when I saw how much the repairs were from Meredith's video, I was like, never mind. Those repairs would be like 3 times the cost of what this bag cost me. So I really appreciate that Hermes is not doing that, and they stand by their vintage bags. And my sales associate and I always talk about the bags that I bring in and that to be repaired. He's always like, oh, that's a really cool bag. Like, it's great to see people using vintage bags and like loving them. We always talk about what's the coolest bag like he's ever seen recently. And he was mentioning he saw a bag from like the 50s that Hermes made that had like the metal framing still with the bag. I think you guys have probably seen those if you ever looked on like vintage websites. of the type of bag I'm talking about. But Hermes is like, hey, it's our bag. We're willing to work on it. Like, bring it in. And they'll be honest with you if they can't do it. But I really appreciate it. They will be getting more repairs from me. I have a lot of vintage bags. I just didn't want to do a repair and then need to pick it up during the holiday season. And the sweater repairs normally take a little longer. So I told my SA, I was like, I will see you in January because you will not see me back in here in December. I am not one of those people who's going to be hounding their SA for a quota bag in December. It's just not going to happen, and I don't want to be near the shopping area in December. Too crazy for me. So thank you so much for tuning in today, guys. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have about Hermes repairs. So now I've done a watch, a sweater, and 3 bags? Yeah, 3 bags, all with different repairs. So I'm happy to talk to you guys about them. I will definitely be doing more in the future, though I can tell you what my repairs cost, but that does not mean that it will necessarily be the same for you. And I know some of you have asked, I cannot provide you like a quote for what it would cost your repair, especially if it's something different than I've ever had done. So thank you so much for tuning in today, guys, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys.